Hi everybody, this is Barry, and this is going to be the first video in our Breck After School music series on piano. First we're going to learn the names of the keys on the piano. You'll notice we have white keys and we have black keys on the piano that are arranged in a particular pattern. So what we can see just by looking at the piano is that we have an alternating pattern of 2 and 3 black keys, except for the one key at the bottom of the keyboard. Bottom meaning the left-hand side where the lowest notes are played. We're going to have 2, then 3, then 2, then 3, then 2, then 3, then 2, then 3, then 2, then 3. This isn't a full-length keyboard, but even on a full-length keyboard that would continue. So now, one thing we want to understand is that the keys are arranged from A to G in alphabetical order. However, when we address the keyboard, our central note, our starting point, is always going to be C, or is sort of C is the reference for the piano. Because when we play the white keys from C to C, we get the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, well, so how do I know that that's C, and how do I know that those notes are those notes? Well, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to look for a group of 2. Let's look for the 2 that are sort of in the middle of the keyboard here. 2 black keys. And we're going to go to the white key that's to the left adjacent to those 2 black keys. And that's going to be C. And all of the white keys that are to the left adjacent to the pair of 2 black keys. Not the 3 black keys, but just the 2. Those are going to be C. So here's C. Here's the next octave of C. Here's the next octave. These are all, interestingly enough, the frequencies of these notes are multiples of one another. So each of them, this note, I'm not sure what the frequency is, but this is double that frequency, and this is double that one. This is double again and double again. For you science people out there. Okay, so if we know that that's C, let's be careful also, first of all, to make sure that we are identifying C, and not another key that looks just like C, which has the same sort of L shape, and that's going to be to the left of a group of black keys too, but in this case, it's going to be C, F, that's going to be the note F, that's going to be to the left of the groups of 3 black keys, so there's F, 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 and F. Okay, one way that a student made me aware of that we can identify these is that if you have 2, chopsticks come in pairs of 2s. So this looks like a pair of chopsticks, and to the left of chopsticks starts with C, so this is going to be C. Whereas a fork often has 3 tines, sometimes 4, but in this case, let's say 3. And a fork starts with F, so to the left of that is going to be F. Okay, so if you have C and F, so we have C, like I said, it goes in alphabetical order, C, I said, the musical alphabet is only 7 letters and only goes up to G. Once we get to G, we're going to now start at A. Now you may ask, why didn't we start at A in the first place? And like I explained, because C is the central note on the piano, because the major scale in C turns up on the white keys from C to C. So you just have to trust me on that for now. But here's A after G. And then we continue, after B, and then you'll notice that we end up back on C, here to the left of the 2 black keys. So there you have the names of all the white keys on the piano. If you want to identify any one of the keys, let's say I want to identify this key. Well, if I'm not sure, and I'm kind of lost in the sauce here, I'm going to want to go find C. Anywhere. Let's see if I find C below. Okay, that's C. So C, D, F, G. once you get more familiar with this, each of them has sort of their own orientation. And let me say a little bit more about that. So we already said that C and F are to the left of the 2 black keys and the 3 black keys. The C is to the left of the 2, and F is to the left of the 3. Well, to the right of each of those pairs, we also have 2 notes that share a similar shape. So we're going to want to be careful that we don't misidentify those as well. So to the right of the 2 black keys is going to be C, D, E is going to be the note E. So this is E to the right of the 2 black keys. Whereas if we keep going, F, G, A, B, you're going to see B is going to be to the right of the group of 3 black keys. You'll also notice that it's just directly to the left of C. Now, when we learn to identify the black keys by name, we're going to notice that there are 2 pairs of white keys that don't have a black key in between them. So let's remember that, because that's going to be significant. Okay, so we've named C and F. We've named E and B. Well, all we have left are now our notes that are between the black keys. And if there's one alone, it's going to be D. If there are 2, the leftmost one is going to be G, and the rightmost one is going to be A. So that's another way of looking at and identifying the keys. And the quicker that you identify the keys, some people like to write the names of the letter names of the keys on the white keys. I find that to be a process that slows down the memorization. And it's important to get familiar with the names of the keys if you're learning how to play music from written music or from even chord charts, so that you can easily and quickly identify what note you're sort of building your chords on and stuff, and how to get everything together. Okay. All right. So now that I've explained the names of the white keys, I want to quickly explain the names of the black keys. So each black key is going to actually have 2 different names. So for each black key, we can either name it for the key that it is above. So in this case, here's C. This black key is above C. It means it's to the right. We call it 1/2 step to the right, the distance between the notes, between all of the notes being a half step. And we have 12 equal half steps now from C to C. So here's C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 takes us back to C. Okay, so when we look at the note that's a half step above C, that's going to be C sharp. When we look at the note that's a half step above D, that's going to be D sharp. Now you'll notice that there's not a key in between E and F. So we don't have a key that we call the E sharp key. Okay? So then here's F, and then F sharp is going to be a half step above that. Here's G, and G is going to be a half step, G sharp is going to be a half step above that. Sorry. Then there's A, and A sharp is a half step above that. Once again, we get to a white note that doesn't have a black key above it. This is B, and there is no B sharp key. Okay? When we go a half step above B, we get back to C. So there are all of our sharps. We have 5 of them. We have C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. Now each of those notes can also be named for which note it is below. Okay? So let's start here at C. And we'll notice first of all that there is no black key below C. That means that there's no note that we call C flat. Flat is the name that we use to name a note that's a half step below a letter note. So there's no C flat, but here's B, and sure enough, we get to B flat. Now you may say, well, we said before that this key was called A sharp because it's a half step above A. And that is in fact true, and each of them, as I said, has two names. So this note can be called either B flat, because it's next to B, below B, a half step below, or it can be called A sharp because it's a half step above A. So by that logic, here's A, this note is going to be A flat. Here's G, because we've now gone below A in the alphabet, so we go now, or starting when we go down on G for the descending part of the alphabet. Here's G flat, and here's F, and once again, there's no black key below F, so we have no F flat key. So there's E, and then E flat, D, and then D flat. Okay? So, and then here's C. Once again, there is no C flat key. Okay? I suggest, in order to become familiar with these, that you test yourself out. Just put a note, a finger on a note, and if it's a white key, you want to go find your C, C, B, A. Okay? If it's a black key, you're going to want to find C, C, D, E, F, find the white key that it's next to, and then you're going to go up one half step, which means this is F sharp. Or if you wanted to go find the flat name, you could go to the note above it. So we could go from C, we could go C, D, E, F, G. And then we know that this is because it's a half step below G, this is going to be called G flat. All right, and that's how to identify your notes on the piano. Thanks, and see you next time.